Hi, welcome to my biology class. Today's our topic is Cephalochordata. Cephalum means head. These animals have got a head-like structure in the chordate group, and this is the second subphylum. The previous one was Urochordata, and this is compared to the Urochordata. This is advanced. On what way it is advanced? In the sense, it has got a notochord and nerve cord throughout the body, but the previous case we have seen that it is present only in the tail region and present only in the larva stage, but here it is present throughout the body as well as throughout their life. They possess the notochord and nerve cord. In that way it is advanced than Urochordata, but there are many primitive characters and compared to vertebrata. Let us discuss about this. As usually we start with habitat. Habitat, they are all purely marine forms, especially they live in the shallow water region, and they are free swimming animals. Free swimming in the sense you can expect the fins kind or some other tentacles, nothing like. They don't have a fins and all. Only thing, they've got a caudal fins, and the front region is somewhat pointed, and this is called rostrum, and this is helpful for the forward motion, and this caudal fin helps for the animal to go with the backward motion. So they'll be swimming on both the directions, and that is the advantage of this animal. And the most common example is Amphioxus. This is called as lancelets, and this is an Amphioxus with the extended and compressed and elongated body they possess. And they are generally night feeders. They are nocturnal animals. Only night time they go in search of a food, and daytime in the heavy light they just burrow in the sand and they settled, take rest. Otherwise, when you talk about the body, generally we talk about the symmetry, and here it is a bilateral symmetry. It is an advanced type. So bilateral symmetry, you know that bilateral symmetry means you can just cut the animal into two equal halves in any one plane. So bilateral symmetry. And then the germ layers, three dermal regions are present: ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. So when the animal possesses the mesoderm, you know that surely there would be a very good coelom present. So euscoelom, in that also it is advanced deuterostomic condition. Deuterostome means when the gut forms, there is a formation of anus first from the blastopore. So this is here, and even this has started in echinodermata, and throughout chordata it trails with the deuterostomic nature, and the body is segmented too, and the coelom is well developed. So coelomic fluid is also present, plus all the organs or organ system level of organization, well developed systems are present. Not all the systems are well developed, but it is a organ system level of organization. And this animal, the compressed body, no appendages, extra fittings are present, but the muscles have got like a V-shaped myotomes, and that is the speciality of Amphioxus too. And generally, like we start with digestive system. Here the digestive system is well developed. The well developed in the sense it's a complete digestive system with the mouth and the anus point. This is the anus. See, mouth is just behind the rostrum, and this region is oral hood, and this is actually releasing a small tentacles like finger like projections called oral cerri. And this is the animal, it is the ciliary feeder, or you can say it is a filter feeder. They just capture the food, the water current get into the mouth, so they capture the food like this, and while capturing it they know to save the food, like the small particles like plankton, zooplanktons or phytoplanktons, kind of diatoms will get into the system, that is get into the mouth, and the big size animals or any plant, any matter can be filtered and sent it out, because the larger particle is toxic to the animal, so they just go with the smaller one. After they get into it, the oral wood is actually lined with the ciliated cells. Cilia will be present. The cilia would be like this, and like this. This is called a wheel organ, and through which they'll just enter into it, and then after that it will coming to this pharynx region. Pharynx region is somewhat big, and it is occupying almost up to 3/4 of this region is occupied by pharynx. Pharynx here has got a gill slits and gill bars. See, the gill slits in the sense it goes like this. This is the gill slits. These are all the gill slits. The gap is a gill bar, you could say. This is the gill bar and this is the gill slits. And here, see, generally we think that there is a term gill slits or gill bars will be very much helpful for respiration. But here it is not the case, and rather it is much useful for digestion. So, and here through which the water and the food what is getting into the system will be moving and then going to the next region, esophagus, and then going to the intestine. Intestine ends with the anus. This is the anus. So intestine region has got this region, has got a two gut, midgut and hindgut backside. So the midgut area has got a liver kind of a thing, like a hepatic region, is called liver diverticulum. Liver diverticulum, what is the main thing in the sense? This animal possesses intracellular and extracellular digestion. See, intracellular means the food and the cell, there is a direct contact. So food can be directly captured by the cells and then it is absorbed by the cell, goes for an ATP. But extracellular, it will be getting into the digestive tract and then reaching to the cell via some medium, and this is advanced. And intracellular is primitive, but this animal, though it is an advanced animal coming under car data, still retaining the intracellular as well as extracellular. That intracellular happens into the liver diverticulum. Otherwise, they've got digestive glands and juices. With that, the food is being digested properly, and then what is being digested going to the cell. What cannot be digested, what has not been digested properly and partially, has been eliminated via anus. So there is a separate hole from mouth to anus. A straight tube is present here. So on the whole, the digestive system is well developed. So when you talk about the respiratory system, as I said, there is a gill slits and gill, we'll be thinking about that, but it is not so. Here the water is getting into the system and there is a separate atrium present here. Water getting into the system and mixing into the system and then going via the excess water is eliminated via atriopore. So the blood vessels are running very close to the skin. So the skin is absorbing the oxygen from the water. So there is no way connected with the gills, pharyngeal gill slits or gill bars, nothing. They are not entering into the respiratory system. They just go with the lacuna or an atrium in this region, and from the skin the oxygen is absorbed. So the entire skin is getting into the respiratory system, and then that is mixed going to all part of the body, and the carbon dioxide mixes into the water is going via the atriopore. So there is a separate pore. The atriopore is a special thing connected from the atrium, and via this atriopore even the nitrogenous waste is going off. Gonads are released via this. So that is the purpose of this. So that's all about the respiratory system. When you talk about the circulatory system also here and there, like it is a closed blood vascular system, in the sense it is well developed. Closed blood vascular system means it is highly developed or advanced character only, but there is no heart here. In that way it just look very primitive. And the blood vessels are running in dorsal side as well as ventral side, and the way they carry the blood. So the ventral blood vessels carry the flow of blood in the forward motion, and the dorsal side it will be in the backward motion like other cardates. But the irony is blood vessel is contracting and relaxing and pumping the blood. So there is no any pumping organ like heart and other things. So that is the case of a primitive features exhibited by this group of animals. And the blood is colorless and no hemoglobin too, but they've got amoeboid cells, and so it is going in advanced features, like somewhere it is in primitive kind. And when you talk about an excretory system is well pronounced here. Like here the excretory system excretion is completely carried out by protonephridias, pronephros you could say. and that is connected with the gill slates, and that's the thing. Gill bars are there. This is the primary gill bar and this is the secondary gill bar, and this is the nephridia. On the whole, it has got the vertical limb and then horizontal limb. The horizontal limb area, it has got a bulb-like structure with the cilia kind of a projection. Cilia only. These cilia are solenocytes. And this is connected with the gill slits, of course. And the solenocytes capture the nitrogenous waste from the xylem and then opening into this opening via. And this opens and mixes into the water. The water carries the nitrogenous waste products and then released via the atriopore. So the excess water, whatever comes to the system, which carries the carbon dioxide or the unwanted content, the nitrogenous metabolic waste, everything mixes in the water and getting away from the system via the atriopore. So that serves many purpose here. And when you talk about the nervous system is kind of central nervous system, you could say. Central nervous system, generally we say that it is the brain and spinal cord. Here there is no distinct brain. But this animal possesses a very good notochord, and the nerve cord runs throughout the body. So the nerve cord and notochord means it's a highly developed features of the chordates too. And here the top area, that is the anterior region, the central canal just enlarged and formed like a big structure, like a ganglion, and that is here called as a cerebral vesicle. And this act like a brain, but it is not a distinct brain too. And this region, the rostrum region and the oral wood and all, it has got some sense organs for sensitive cells, and then this oral cirri to capture or sense the food and the size of the food. So the sense organs are all partially developed. Then you talk about the reproduction. It has got a gonads here, gonad packets like small things, and the animal is unisexual. And the fertilization, so gonads will be released via the atriopore again. It will go for an external fertilization. And indirect development, the most common larva here is amosheet larva. And that's all about the cephalocardate. Simple to learn, it's not, because not much examples will be given. The most common animal is lancelet. If you have any doubt on this, please put it in the comment section. We'll discuss further. Please subscribe and share. Thank you.